Hola, my name is Lisette. Welcome back to my channel, Planning on Purpose, where we talk and share all things planning, financial, functional, and future planning. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning, thank you so much for checking back in. I really do appreciate all of you. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy watching. My husband and I are empty nesters, proud parents of two amazing daughters, and promoted to grandparents over a year ago to a beautiful, precious granddaughter. In this new season of our lives, we are on a journey to be completely debt-free using a zero-based budget and cash stuffing method. Our biggest goal is to give, to invest, and most importantly, to retire early enough to actually enjoy it. If you are interested in learning more, please continue watching. With that, let's get started. Okay, friends, here we are. December is here. The holidays are upon us. And with the holidays, as joyful as they are, this is my favorite time of year, also comes the stress and the anxiety and the insanity of shopping and buying things. It's just a really hectic time of year. But it's also a time of reflection. It's also a time of gathering and really looking at what this year has brought us. I, as a planner myself, while this month is very important, I always look at it as tying everything together for the year, and I'm already looking at and planning for 2024. And so I don't want to get down the rabbit hole of spending so much money in the month of December for shopping and Christmas and the holidays without losing sight of what January will also bring. And what January brings is additional stress, additional anxiety, because when you get those credit card statements and when you look at your bank account, one of the questions some of us ask ourselves is, why did I buy that? Why did I spend so much money? Why did I do this, right? Why did I go out to that dinner? Why did I even buy that outfit? And so at least I know in the past, that's how I have envisioned January, and that's how January has presented itself to me. And January is also a reset month. January is also a month where we set goals, we set resolutions, and oftentimes we think about them in the space of health, right? Drinking more water, getting to the gym, exercising more, losing weight. There's a lot of focus and attention on the health perspective of it. And what I would like for us to think about is financial health. And while goals for losing weight, your body, drinking water, getting more sleep, all of those things are amazing and wonderful, I want us to also add in an additional bullet of establishing financial health as a goal. Because we all know how stressful it is when our finances are a mess. And when we are in financial distress, we also suffer from health issues. They affect us holistically. And so we need to kind of look at this as a holistic view and approach it in a way that it's not just for our physical health, for losing weight, drinking more water, and sleeping, but also mental health. Financial stress can really do a number on people. So my goal today is to talk about that. We are going to pull together some numbers so that come January, we are prepared and we are ready to tackle the new year. And we start with the month of December. I always like to show you the writing instruments that I use. While the numbers are not the same, this is the same exact process I use for my budget every single month, by the way. I go through the same process. The numbers are different, but that's okay. So you just need some really basic instruments. You need pen, pencil, eraser, a highlighter. You need our good old friend here, the calculator, nothing fancy. Let me move this out of the way because I feel like it's a fire hazard. Some highlighters, take them from your kids. Just, you don't need anything really fancy. So here is the monthly budget. In October, in one of my earlier videos, I shared with you how I used a calendar to budget for one of the paychecks out of the month. Today we are going to actually talk about 2 paychecks in this month and kind of how we can set it up for success so that we can give every dollar a job. That is what the zero-based budget method is. It's giving every single dollar a job. So let's recap, why don't we? One of the months I reviewed the monthly budget, right? We took our monthly income, our fixed variable expenses, debt, and savings, and we gave every single dollar a job. And here's where we ended up with a zero-based budget. The following week, I took it one step further. I took one of these paychecks, I broke it down, and I produced a paycheck bill tracker. So this is for a zero-based budget using one of the paychecks of that month and all of the bills and my expenses that were due that month and how I was going to use every single dollar of that first paycheck. And I took it from this and I transferred it into a monthly calendar. I didn't do anything fancy here, friends. And I'm going to use the same practice for today. I just took these categories and I gave them a highlighted color, and then I used that color to show, just from a visual perspective, what all of those expenses are, when they're due, and the type of expense that it is. We did that for the one paycheck. We didn't do it for the second one. Today we are going to do both. I also shared with you the idea of becoming intimate with your bank statements, becoming intimate with your money and knowing where it goes. That's one of the biggest hurdles I think that most of us have to cross, is sitting down and actually looking at the facts, looking at where our money is physically going, where we are spending, wasting, misutilizing our money. One of the weeks I talked about sinking funds. If you haven't checked it out already, I strongly recommend that you do. This one has a free printable. This is a free printable that you can take. Go to this video and it's in the details of this video. Take advantage of it, go in, access it, print this out and use it for your budget. We went through how to tackle credit card debt using 2 different methods. We have the snowball method and the avalanche method. Again, these are all videos I have on my channel. Please go ahead and check them out. Last week, I presented to you this 5-step guide to reset your budget. It's a really simple, high-level overview of how you can actually go in and reset your budget for January and get started the right way. I am going to move all of this out of the way because we really don't need it. So let's just get started. I'm going to move this out. Here we go. Okay. So let's talk about this budget here. We are saying that this is our monthly budget for December. We have 2 paychecks, still using the same numbers that we had in November, right? We're saying our income is $6,000 a month. And how does that translate into a monthly budget? Well, we're saying that if we get paid biweekly, and each biweekly check, we are receiving $3,000 per pay period. We are going to make a list of all of our payments and all of our expenses, and we are going to take these amounts and these categories and transfer them into a calendar. What I think is important here is the visual of seeing what is the highest or what is the most color that you see on this page, because that is where a lot of your money is going, right? This is kind of a reoccurring theme here, but we'll get into that in another video. But this is a good visualization of showing you what exactly is due and when. And so going back to my original November budget that I created and using the same method with this little pack of trusted highlighters, I went in, not to change things, because again, this is what I do for my budget. And I gave each category a color, a legend, if you will. So here is green is for income, This turquoisey color is for fixed expenses. Orange is variables. Debt is yellow. Savings is purple. And then we have our monthly income. And so the first thing you want to do is you want to create your monthly budget. You want to know where you are so that you know where you're going. Yes. So we're saying we make $6,000 in the month, I'm sorry, right? If we make $6,000 in the month and we're trying to get to a zero-based budget, how are we going to accomplish that? What I do is, my process is I go in and I list every single fixed expense. A fixed expense is something that is the same regardless of the month. It may change in, let's say, cents here and there. They may go up or down. They may fluctuate, but they're pennies. They are literal pennies. One of the biggest culprits of that is cable internet. The bill is never exactly the same, or my cell phone bill. So one month, let's say, it could be $75. The next month, it could be $75.25. So it varies, but nonetheless, this is a guide. These are just examples, right? It's not exact to the penny, but you want to generally go in for the month of December and say, my mortgage/rent is $1,500. Car payment is $350, and go through this exercise. These are expenses that must be paid that month. And these, you know, are almost true to exact amounts. The part that gets everyone in trouble, I speak for myself, is this category here. This variable expense is usually what gets people into trouble, because these are monies that we allocate that we can control, because most of these are behavioral, right? These are fixed expenses. These are done by an external institution. And so, your rent and mortgage, you need somewhere to live, your car payment, right? These things, while some of this is self-imposed, we'll get into that at a later time. But these are expenses that have to get paid for you to live day to day, okay? These here, these in the title, it says it all. It's a variable expense. So it varies from month to month. In November, because we didn't have any major holidays, the numbers were slightly different, right? And so what I did was, for this exercise, I went and increased some of the amounts. Why? Because it's December, it's the holidays. We're making many more trips to the stores. We are attending events and dinners for family, for friends, for work. And so December is a very busy time of year. And some of these expenses I just increased for the purpose of this video, okay? But these are variable expenses. So we have gas, groceries, lunch, eating out, Amazon, and this can fluctuate month to month. This can actually fluctuate within the month. Remember that. So some of the new categories that I added was clothing and home needs. So clothing, I put that in there. If you have children, you want to buy them outfits for the holidays, for pictures or pictures with Santa, right? Whatever it is that you like to do for the holidays. I put clothing, I put an additional expense of clothing. This may or may not apply to you. This is just for inspiration and motivation. And then in here, I put home needs, and that could be paper plates, paper towels, you ran out of Clorox, you ran out of laundry detergent, so you need to buy, an extra bottle of laundry detergent. The kids are home, they're home away from school break, and so there's more clothes to wash, things like that. So I added this category of home needs for the purpose of this video. And then the one that gets us all, and that is credit card debt and student loans. We have 4 credit cards that we have to pay. And these are the amounts that we are budgeting to pay them in the month of December. And then, of course, we talk about the zero-based budget method, and the 7 steps, according to Dave Ramsey, is you should have at least $1,000 in emergency funds at all times. And so we're trying to bulk that up. And how does that look like for the month of December? Even with all of these additional expenses. And you'll see here that I added an additional expense for gifts, a variable for $500. And this is for, let's say, Christmas gifts or holiday gifts, whatever holiday you celebrate. But I added this as an additional category as well. Okay, so, but we want to make sure that we have these categories written down, that we have financial goals, financial responsibilities to make sure that we are making payments on time and in the correct amounts, and that we still have monies left over for this category here. So you want to start with this process first. You want to go in and just list everything. Once you have everything listed, for my own mental sanity, I wanted to make sure that I actually captured each one of these on the calendar. So you'll see I have check marks here, and I also listed the number of items in each category, because from a visual, all I did was I went in and counted and make sure that I had 9 categories here, 6 categories here, and everything tied together. Do I do this for myself on a monthly basis? Yep, I sure do. Okay, so the next step you want to do is you want to take this monthly budget and you want to say, okay, now what? When is everything due? When am I going to allocate the funds so that we meet all of these different categories? Here is the trusty handy dandy monthly calendar. I printed these out online. I can definitely attach the link for these calendars. They're free templates. You can just go to Vertex 42. I don't want to take any credit, but this is Vertex 42. You can just go on there and you can print these out in landscape or portrait. I prefer portrait because I hole punch these for my own personal use. I hole punch them and stick them in a binder. So let's talk about how do we take these categories and transfer them into a monthly calendar. One thing that I did here that I did not do in December, I did mention it, but I didn't do it, is you want to pay bills not on their due date, at least a week before. Because if you pay them by their due date, they will arrive a little later, especially depending on the time of day. So you want to stay ahead of your bills and you want to pay them ahead of the due date. So keeping that in mind is how I staged these payments in these categories. Let me explain a little bit further. For example, we have a paycheck that we're receiving on December 8th. Our next paycheck is December 22nd. Our mortgage is due on the 1st of the month. I can't send that payment on the 1st of the month. I need to pay it before this day. So I get paid on the 22nd. I'm going to give this check a couple of days to clear with the holiday. You see, the 25th is here. And I am going to make this payment on my mortgage on the 26th. Give it enough days to go through processing, and they would have received it before the next holiday. And so this gets us paid before the 1st. And I basically use that same idea month to month because it varies, but I use that same idea month to month when I do my own personal budget. So you want to pay it ahead of time. And that's where it's good to see the visual on a calendar, because you can see your credit card payments and when they're due. So for example, if Discover is actually due the last Friday of the month, you don't want to send the payment on this day because they still need a couple of days to clear. We now are bumped up against the holiday. They're not going to receive that until sometime the first week of February and January, and we don't want that. So if Discover is due on the 29th, I'm going to use this paycheck to pay my Discover card so that they receive it before the due date of the 29th. Am I making sense? Yes? You guys are still with me? Okay. So you're going to use that same principle throughout your monthly calendar. You're going to see what the due date is on your statement, and you're going to look at what your pay periods are, and you are going to insert when you are going to send that payment on what day of the month so that they can receive it before it's actually due. For the variable expenses, those can be a little tricky. I'm going to give you a quick example, and I used the same type of principle throughout all of the variable expenses. So remember, this is a monthly budget. We're saying we're going to allocate $200 for gas for the month, okay? If we are going to give $200 a month for gas, we have 4 weeks in the month. And so you'll see here, paycheck number 1, I fill up my tank on a Sunday for the week. You're going to take this paycheck and you are going to allocate $50 on the 10th, $50 on the 17th, and then for paycheck number 2, here's your other 50 and your last 50. So here is your $200 broken up into 4 weeks using 2 pay periods, because remember, this is a monthly budget. So you want to spread it out so that it's distributed across your 2 pay periods. If you have 4 pay periods, then you want to distribute it across the 4 pay periods. If you get paid once a month, you know the drill. And so for groceries, because we're doing groceries twice a month when we get paid, and we're saying we're going to spend $400 a month on groceries, or at least for the month of December. So we get paid here. I'm going to make groceries on Saturday, and I'm going to spend $200 on groceries on Saturday. Get paid here, $200 of groceries on the 23rd. Make sense? Excellent. And you're going to go through that same exact exercise, and that is how you are going to put in your month, how much you are going to spend for each category. We will then go into debt. Remember what I said, there are 5 entries for debt: Discover, Amex, Citibank, Chase, and student loans, total of $700. Well, we have all these other things that we have to pay, right? We have all these other expenses we have to pay. We can't necessarily fork out $700 in one pay period. So how do we make that happen for us so that we pay it on time, we're not delinquent, and that we have the funds to cover it? You plop them into those dates, keeping in mind when they are due. So you want to plop those dates in, those categories into those dates. So you can see with paycheck number 1, I paid 1, 2, 3 credit cards and my student loan. With paycheck number 2, because it's not due until the first week of the month, Citibank isn't due until this week. So I can pay my Citibank in my second paycheck. Making sense? Awesome. And then our last category, of course, is emergency, right? Remember I said we want to build that up. Now next month, because we've already had $1,000 in our emergency fund, we can allocate this money next month towards either debt, most likely debt. You want to put in all the money to get rid of this here, okay? Because then you can start actually saving more. All right, so for emergency fund, I'm going to pay that during my first paycheck of the month of December, and I'm going to put in $200 out of paycheck number 1, and then I'm going to take out $350 out of paycheck number 2 to put towards my emergency fund. This is a monthly budget. The goal is to have $550 in the month of December. Did I make that happen? If this holds true and I actually follow through with it, then yes, I will have $550 by the end of December. And so we want to look at all of these categories, and from a visual, you can see we have 6 categories for fixed expenses. Let's count them together. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait. Is that 7? 1, 2, 7. Oh, there's 7. That was my mistake. So this is actually 7. Let's go back. Do we have 7 blue highlights? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, we have 7 categories. So we know that all of our fixed expenses will be paid in the month of December throughout both pay periods. Let's talk about eating out. We're saying we are going to spend $400 that month eating out. We're only going to eat out 1 day a week. What day are we eating out? We're going to eat out on Saturdays. And our cap amount, our budget amount is $100. So every Saturday I have distributed the $400 so that every week we spend $100 on dinner, on eating out or lunch, whatever it is. Same for lunch, coffee. I'm going to treat myself to have my coffee and a sandwich for the month of December because I'm too busy shopping. I don't really have time to pack my food. I'm going to go out to eat. So for lunch, I'm saying I'm going to spend $100 a month on lunch. Here we go. I need it for the week. So I am going to give myself $25 every week. And once I'm done spending the $25, and let's say that's a Thursday and I don't have any more funds left over for the next day, I am going to pack my lunch and make my coffee at home because I do not want to go above this amount. And technically you shouldn't be going above any of these amounts because if this holds true, something here is not going to get paid or something here is going to be shortchanged because remember, we're giving every dollar a job and we're working with a zero-based budget. So if everything goes correctly, you would have allocated your funds to every single category, plopped them on a monthly calendar, and once you add everything up, you should have a net of 0. And this, my friends, is your zero-based budget. I love to show this. I love to show this visual because it kind of brings everything home. It provides you with the details that you need in a list form. It forces you to write everything down and assign it a dollar amount. And then you're going to go in and schedule it to make sure that you fulfill your obligation of either saving or paying what you need to pay. Because no one wants to get a call from a collector or a notice in the mail from one of the credit card institutions to let us know that we've missed a payment. That is the one time that I would literally cringe when my phone would ring and it was a bill collector when my husband and I were in such heavy debt. I hope that you have found this useful. If you want to see a 1-week breakdown, hop on over to my other video where I show you how to do that. I hope you found this helpful. You do not need anything fancy. Basic writing instruments, a calculator, some highlighters, and you are good to go. You don't need anything else. That is all that I have for you for today. Thank you for joining me. I like to post every Sunday is when my videos go up on my channel. So please check in for next week's video where we are going to talk about subscriptions. It's the dark hole for many people, but we are going to talk about that high level. So look for that video next week. And with that, wishing you guys a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I will see you next Sunday. Adios.